Yes, good morning, people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody is well. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's the day before the Manchester City game. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Yes, it is Tuesday, which means Wednesday is the Manchester City game. And I'm seeing some very, very interesting stuff all over. I say YouTube. That's where I mainly exists. And TikTok and the X messages that I get sent, and Instagram and Facebook, and lots of videos that are titled "Are Spurs back?" Spurs mean business. Spurs have turned the corner. Um, let's talk about it. We'll talk about it this morning, have we? Unfortunately, we are quite an easy fan base to please, aren't we? A couple of wins against some really bad teams, and we forget how bad the season's been. We forget how lackluster and weak we were in getting knocked out of the cup to Aston Villa, and the week before getting knocked out of the cup to Liverpool without a fight. But hey, it's each to their own. As Dave Hamilton in the chat has just said, our Spurs back. Well, from what? Where did we go? And I think this is probably my feeling throughout these years. It's whenever we win a couple of games in a row and I hear we're back, I don't know what it means. I think that's the key thing for me. I don't know what that means. Are we back to what is perceived as Ange ball for the first 10 games of last season? Are we back to what Poch days? Like, what are we back to? I'm not sure. We'll have that chat. But good morning to each and every single one of you. I hope you're well. It's a fairly nice day here in South London. It's a fairly nice day. I'm on the borders of South London and Kent, darling. Not the posh part though. So a very nice day, and welcome to every single one of you. The Premier League is back. Look, we've got games going on all over the place, haven't we? Tonight, you've got Brighton versus Bournemouth, which is a really, really big game for both clubs. Palace versus Villa, a game which again really does matter for Tottenham Hotspur, because Villa are currently 9 points above us. Crystal Palace are level on points with us. If Villa win that game, I think they're not catchable with 11 games left. However, don't win that game, it could be. But then again, if they don't win that game and Palace do, that puts us back down to 13th for the evening. So it's all happening. Wolves versus Fulham. Fulham, a team above us, 6 points above us. So a big game there in terms of can we catch Fulham in 10th? And Wolverhampton Wanderers, for me, a win tonight all but seals their Premier League safety. Let me know what you think. I think a win for Wolves tonight, let's double check that I'm right here before I give you bad math. If Wolves win tonight, they go on to 25 points. They'll be 8 points clear of Ipswich and Leicester. And Ipswich and Leicester, they're not making that up over the season. So, really, really, really big game for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then you've got, excuse me. Sorry, bear 1 second. Excuse me. Something went down. And then you've got Chelsea versus Southampton is the final Premier League game tonight. The 8:15 kickoff. Now, Chelsea with a win will go back into the top 4. Southampton are relegated already. There's no chance they stay up. So a massive game for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Chelsea started like a house on fire and have kind of faded away a little bit. 3 defeats in their last 5, 2 wins. A win for them, again, a win for them takes them massively clear of us. But from a Chelsea perspective, puts them back in to the top 4 for the time being, at least, with all the other teams still having to play this week. So a lot of good football going on tonight. You got Championship, League One, League Two, and I'll be doing a live score show tonight over on Big Up. So I'll be over on Big Up if anyone wants to join. It's nice and chilled. It's relaxed. So if anyone does want to join that, then you are more than welcome. And thank you so much to everybody. I must start my show by saying this. I really appreciate. I mean, I had over 700 messages yesterday of support after Frank passed away on early hours of Monday morning, Sunday evening. Thank you very much. It was a very, 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 very difficult time. Even though we knew it was coming, we didn't know it was coming that quick. And the pain experienced just put everything into perspective in terms of football and how vile everyone is to each other. That was a real hard day for myself, for my wife, for Stewie, my smaller dog, who is now looking around for his brother. So I just want to say thank you very much. Got an overwhelming amount of messages of support. Apologies that there was no football yesterday, no content yesterday, but thank you so much. It really, really did mean a lot to me. And it was a real difficult time. And look, there he is. So he'll never, ever be forgotten, my baby. So look, and off the back of that, I mean, Sanctuary 7, very, very generous, said, so sorry for your loss, Savva. Rest in peace, Frank. Yeah, absolutely. Look, the moment they get to the stage where they're in pain, you can't keep them about anymore. And look, Sanctuary 7, thank you very much. That really does mean a lot. Thank you. Even the monetary donation does mean a lot. Because when, as a YouTuber, when I don't stream for a day, obviously that means I'm not earning money. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Look, if we move away from that for 1 second, I'm sure his name will get mentioned again. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please do. We're slowly trying to plod towards 17,000. It's mad. We flew past 15. We flew past 16. We got to 16 and a half. And then it just all kind of stopped in and around 16 and a half, 16.7, which is where we've existed for the last week or so. Yeah, if you haven't, please do subscribe. I'm going to put the link in the chat here. Oh, hang on. Am I going to put the link in the chat? Let's have a look. Where's my channel? View my channel on YouTube. There we go. Probably help. It all helps, doesn't it? Home featured. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, I'm sure most of you have. Please do. That really, really would help. And thank you very much. So I'm going to ask the question. Let's see who's in the chat, shall we? There's loads of you in the chat. No Nonsense Football Fan is in there. Once again, big up to my brother, Sanctuary 7. Thank you very much. That was very, very kind of you. Big up to Rob Frank. We're back from being dog shit to just shit. It does make you laugh. Get that stinky fraud Arteta out of my car. But yeah, as said, your next 3 games will tell if you're back or not. I agree. For me, wins against Ipswich and Man United after the embarrassment of the Cups doesn't change my opinion. I know everyone wants their mind changed on a win these days. Win a game and everyone goes, oh my God, you're in the mud. Lose a game, oh my God, in the mud. It's like, just, look, I'll change my opinion. I'll change my opinion when I actually see a well-oiled, well-drilled football team. Yeah, not on a few lucky wins. That's not where I'm at as a football fan. Big up, Archer. Thank you for everyone, all the nice messages. Thank you. Good morning to Tom Thacker. A big up to Money Meso 7. Big up to you. Thank you. Big up to the Sheriff. Big up to Dave Hamilton and Billy Wilson. Neil is here. Chris is in here this morning. Good morning, Chris. Sean Smith. We've got one of the marks. There's about 4,000 of the marks, aren't there? All the Mark army. Big up to Fernando. Good morning to you, Fernando. Nice to see you. Finn is in the chat. Matt James saying, at least you guys are doing better than Man United. Well, my video at lunchtime on my other channel is going to be about Ruben Amorim and has he failed. So look out for that. Singularity's here. Good morning, Singularity. One of my channel members, Bella, is here. Big up, Bella. Hope you are well, my friend. DMB forever. Ron Vignac, who loves telling us his name is Jeff. Big up, Ron. Hope you're well. Brandon is in the house. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate that. Wayne is in the house. Fiona and Stanny Kush. Philly, my brother from another mother, is here. How we doing, man? Yeah, he's the face of Football Heritage TV. He's going nowhere, man. He's going nowhere. He's always going to be with us. Thank you, the Realist Football Channel. Yeah, sometimes realism isn't liked, and I appreciate that. And I get it. I get there's people that just want to just want to say lovely things, and fair play to those people. But what I would ask, if any of you haven't subscribed, please do get down there and smash that button. But look, today we're also going to be looking forward to the game tomorrow against Man City. Big game. Really, really weird Man City season. Really weird time to be playing Man City. They're doing well in terms of form in the Premier League, other than that loss to Liverpool. But they've had some tough games: Liverpool, Real Madrid, Arsenal. They're having the football, they're creating chances, but they're not winning games with the ease that they used to. So we'll be looking at that, and we'll be seeing whether or not, is this a good time to play them? Is it a bad time to play them? Are they the bogey team? I mean, they've beaten us a few times in the last years. In the last 2 years, we've beaten them a few times. Are they the bogey team? Will we see that again? Has Ange got a plan? Has Pep got a plan? Should be a very, very interesting game. And I just want to double check tomorrow night. I'm hoping that we are on the telly box. I'm hoping this is one of those ones that we're on Discovery Plus. We're on TNT. Good. We're on TNT. So at the moment, it looks like the only real 3 first-team players that will be missing tomorrow will be Van der Ven, Solanke, and Romero. Richarlison's still out. I'm just not counting him at all. And Dragusin is still out, but you've got Danso. So that'll be interesting. Man City, I guess the question for me is going to be, does Erling Haaland play? Lots of questions, and we'll get to it a little bit later. Stanley Kusher said we need to bash Man City tomorrow. Bash them. I said I'll take a 1-0. But yes, it would be lovely to bash them. Phil Coys has said, big up, Savva. Big up to you as well. Yes, Ellie. Queen Ellie Hoybier. Yes, we have seen Angus. He was in our show the other day claiming that he only ran away because of a hangover. So interesting time. Interesting time. A big up to whoever just subscribed. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. Thank you. I just hit the like button. It wasn't difficult. Absolutely the original Mutt. Crazy on YouTube how difficult it seems to be for some people to hit that like button. But hey, we are where we are. And of course, tomorrow I will be doing a live watch along for Tottenham versus Man City in the evening. I will be doing a live watch along. We've got a busy one tomorrow. We've got a morning show. Stel and I will be doing an hour at 5 p.m. for an hour and 15 at 5 p.m. for Savva and Stella Ask Us Anything. And then after that, we'll go straight into the live watch along. So lots of content coming up. Apologies for the lack of content yesterday. As you can appreciate, it wasn't really a day where I wanted to be talking about football. It was a day when I wanted to be celebrating this little fella. Where are we? Good morning to 164 Spur. Rob has said, pretty sure that 80% of our fan base is made up of Marks, Dans, and Phils. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. These Marks, Dans, and Phils. It's their parents' fault. You know, they gave them bog standard names. And before they have a go at me, in the year I was born, the most popular boy's name in England was Richard. What did my parents call me? Richard. It's almost like they've gone, oh, let's have a look at baby names. What shall we call him? Richard, the number one. See you later. Put the book back down. Very lazy parenting. Big up to my brother, Ash. How you doing, man? Love Ash. Absolutely love Ash. We don't agree on everything, but always have good football chat. Said Haaland is back. Yeah, well, listen, I think what I've seen, Ash, and some people might tell me I'm wrong, all the people that just say he only scores goals, he doesn't do anything. I look at the game against Liverpool and Real Madrid, and what they don't have is that focal point. And what Haaland does do for me is he takes defenders away. 2 to 3 defenders get attracted to him. He allows space for other players to come into the game. You can play the ball into him to hold up. You can play the ball into him for headers. Without that, you saw the other night how many crosses into the Liverpool penalty area and really easily flicked away by Konate or Virgil van Dijk, because they had, they've got no focal point. Savio, Mamouche, Foden, De Bruyne, McAtee, these are all very skillful, talented footballers, but none of them that you would want in a fight in the air, right? A no-nonsense football fan said, I don't know why I have this weird feeling we'll beat City 4-0. Sure. I mean, I'm guessing you're probably... Sorry, really needed that. I'm guessing you're basing a lot of that on the 4-0 that we just beat them at the Etihad. But hey, Mark Sheriff said, ain't Romero training? Ain't. All right, Mark. Ain't he training again? Probably because Argentina plays soon. Yeah, we all knew that. We all knew when Romero was going to come back fit. If I'm not wrong, wasn't he originally meant to be coming back? Was it the 20th or the 23rd of January? Something like that. And now here we are on the 25th of February, all waiting for him. A small up to you. Big up, Brad. Hope you're well. Is Angus in here? Did I see Angus, or are you just saying half out loud, Angus? Alex McCarthy, big up to you. One of my channel members has said, morning, Savva. I think if Haaland plays, we lose. Look, it's definitely a different dynamic when Haaland plays, right? It's definitely... Now, look, we saw what Delap did to Danso and Gray in the first half. Haaland is a much better player. So there's that option to do that for City. But how fit is he going to be? How are Man City going to play? We'll see tomorrow. As with anything, we'll see tomorrow. Yeah, all the games, I believe, are on TNT tomorrow. And big up, Drew. Thank you very much. Yeah, really tough. Really tough 36 hours now. Really tough time. But hey, it is what it is. Minerals FC has said Haaland versus Danso, but like Spurs fans making same mistakes. What do you mean by that, Minerals? Hope you're doing well, my friend. What do you mean, the last bit? What do you mean? And good morning to Barbaric Disdain, who said, good morning, Savva. Good morning to you, my friend. Another channel member, another friend of the channel. Said, smash those likes and sub, people. Yes, really do smash those likes and sub, people. Look who we've got. Where is he? Richard is your second name. Yeah, honestly, I judge my parents so much. Literally, they had every name in the world and went for the most popular one in the country at the time. You look at it, and Richard's such a shit name. I'm allowed to say that because it's my name. It's such a shit name. Ben, what do you think of the name Richard? And good morning to you, sir.
I know many, many people call Richard, and usually they're really, really nice people. So you got that going for you.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when you meet a bad Richard, you just call them Dick. That's the way you go. But sorry, mate, Savva.
Hence why I hate the name Richard. It's people going, Dick. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late. It took me 10 years to get out of bed this morning, so I'm here.
Right.
I'm here with you. We can have a chat, and it's just going to be a good morning. I think it's going to be a good morning.
I hope so. The sun's out. Out. It's a bit nippy. The sun is out, and all I know is that my day today is going to be a lot better. Every day is going to be a lot better than my yesterday. So I'm very happy to be up and about. Ben, let's have a look. Look, we're going to talk Man City in a minute. We'll talk Manchester City in a minute. The usual's happening, Ben. The usual of we're back. Spurs are great. We've turned a corner. And depending on how you look at this, Ben, you can look at it at 3 league wins in a row, or you can look at it that in our last 5 games, we've been knocked out of both cup competitions. It depends. I suppose glass half full, half empty, but I'm not as easily pleased as everyone else in this whole we're back. Well, what does that mean, Ben? What's going on? Why are we all so quick to get carried away?
I think it's Spurs fans are the most reactionary fan base on the planet. Great, 3 wins. Yes, you could say we should be beating Man United because they're the worst Man United team we've ever seen. We should be beating Ipswich because they're not a very good side. We got a very good win against Brentford in the Premier League as well. So the win against Brentford, very good win in the Premier League, and we give that the props it deserves.
Yeah,
great. Let's put a run together now. Because we know this football club, Savva. We will be, we're back. Spurs are going to do it. We're going to go on a 6-7 game unbeaten run now. Play Man City on Wednesday. and we'll get beat 5-0, and then we're back to square one again. So, chill. Let's get a result against Man City. Then you start thinking, oh, okay, we've got 5 results in a row. Let's get the 5th result, because you're only as good as your last game of football. Let's put a game of 10, 11, 12 games where we go unbeaten. That would be brilliant. We don't have to moan anymore. We won't be at each other's throats anymore. And then we can actually see if he's actually building something. For me, the pendulum hasn't swung in that favour yet. I said it on my show yesterday that football's a pendulum. Football isn't black and white. You're not this or you're that. I think the human mind is, I don't want to say simple, because I think that's a bit insulting to the human mind. The human white mind works like a pendulum. We've been given 16 months of bad information. So the pendulum has swung over here. Let's say we go 16 months on really good form. The pendulum comes all the way back here. That's how football works. It swings and roundabouts. Let's see how many results we can put together. If we go to AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League and we lose, you get rid of him. Because, again, it's proven that nothing's changed. If we don't win the Europa League, or at least go far in it and show promise in it, you get rid of him. Because then the former months of form, they're still there. They're set in stone. They're there for everyone to talk about till the rest of time. They're there. It's in stone. Yeah. So let's see. Let's put a few good results together. Let's enjoy the wins because you should enjoy wins. I don't really like it. Oh, I don't want to enjoy. It's only Ipswich. No, we won 4-1. I'm going to enjoy a 4-1 win. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. But after the half an hour, 2 hours after the win, next game of football. Let's do it. Let's do it. Next game of football. Let's put a run together and see where we end up at the end of the season. Because that's all we can do now. The season's over. The season's basically over. We've only got that Europa League to hang our hat on. But let's see if we can do it.
No, I think you're right. I suppose it matters how much individuals need the pendulum swung, if we're going to use your term. Some people just think it's beating Ipswich and Man United. For me, I look at it over 2 years and go, no, this is not good enough for me. Yeah. I want to see Spurs have a really good end to the season. Now, that doesn't mean he's not won the Europa League, he's absolutely failed. What I want to see now is have a really good end to the season, right? Get in that top 7 or 8 by hook or crook, scrape into Europe that way, and then you can go, okay, right, there's something there, it's happening, there's belief.
Let's have a conversation in the summer to see what he wants.
Exactly.
And if you can't have an amicable conversation about it, you part ways, you wash your hands with it, and you say, you know what, Ange, you tried your best, it hasn't worked. We're going to go on to another phase of what the young kids call a project, and that we're going to go on to a new phase of because this is the word that baffles me, and I blame all Arsenal fans. Well, not all Arsenal fans. I blame the majority of Arsenal fans for the holding on to, we cut the project, the process. Many people, I've never worked on a building site, but I've worked with many people that have worked on a building site. If the project's not going well, you sack the foreman and you continue the same project. You don't just get rid of the entire project. No, you can get a new foreman and let's see where we go. That's what you got to do.
I agree. Look, at the end of the day, as I've said, if we're going to finish mid-table, the only way he, for me, survives, the only way I jump on board with him is to win the Europa League.
Of course.
However, have a deep run in the Europa League, go on a 5, 6, 7, 8 game winning run in the Premier League, and all of a sudden, people like me have to turn around and go, okay then. But I'm also allowed to not enjoy his style of play. I don't enjoy what I'm watching. I don't think we're a well-oiled team. And I was having this chat the other day with somebody away from YouTube, because, sometimes if you have a chat with people you don't normally chat to, you get a different start of things. And they said to me, what's your biggest concern with Ange and with Ange Ball? I said, the key thing for me is it's not sustainable. I said, I think what we've seen in 2 years is you've got a style of play where every now and then you thump a team 4-0 and everyone goes, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's games where we're losing or struggling. Now, does the risk reward factor, is that great enough that you celebrate the massive wins, i.e. Villa, i.e. City, and just ignore everything else? Not for me, Ben. For me, I want something that's a bit more sustainable. I want something where I don't go in at the weekend and think, oh my gosh, we're so wide open every game. And that's my biggest issue with this manager. It's the sustainability factor. Is that harsh? Is that fair?
Oh, we've had this conversation many, many times, Sav, and we had this conversation under Conte as well, because you didn't like the style of football under Conte. I am now doing what people did that Love Ange said about Antonio Conte, how much they slaughtered the style of football. It's dinosaur football. It's too defensive. I hate this style of football. I hate it. For me, it's one of the most turgid, boring styles of football you've ever seen. I think it's nonsensical. It's not linked. It's not coherent. It's frantic. It's stressful. It's the most It's stressful. It's because we're playing the ball so quickly that we know footballers. I'm not going to diss footballers because they're not the most unintelligent people. And footballers aren't known for being bright, are they? They're not known for being bright. So why are you telling them to smash the ball at each other? They haven't got a time to think. So Archie Gray, and people maybe rightfully so, maybe not. I'm a big fan of Archie Gray. I'm not as far gone as Lubo on the whole Archie Gray fan club, but I really like him as a footballer. And I think he can be a quality footballer for Spurs. He's got so many misplaced passes because he's asked to fire the ball into midfielders that haven't got a chance, so that we lose the ball. So everyone's saying, well, Archie Gray's losing the ball. This is how many times he's lost the ball during... No, he's losing the ball because of the way he's asked to play football, which is frantic, aggressive. No, just let him say, I'm a midfielder, control the ball, bring it out slowly, methodical, easy, then use what you've got to your advantage. So we're making our own players look rubbish. And then we're blaming the players instead of blaming the guy that came up with the idea of the system. So you've got to have it both ways.
No, absolutely. Look, as I said, it's going to be, nothing's going to change at Tottenham Hotspur anytime soon, right? We've got what, 12? Oh, let me double check my math again. Yeah, we've got 12 Premier League games and a maximum of 7 Europa League games, a maximum. He's got anywhere between, he's definitely got 2 Europa League games. So he's got anywhere between 14 and 19 games this season. I just want to see some sort of shape. I want to see, I don't want to go to Ipswich Town and see first 10 minutes like we saw the other day, where everything looks helter-skelter, a bit scary, and the team, our opposition could be 2 or 3-0 up against us. I don't want to see that. You don't see from Arsenal and Liverpool. They don't look like that. I'm not saying Arsenal are the greatest team in the world, but let's be fair. When Arsenal lose, they tend to lose by the odd goal, and it's very rare that they lose. With Spurs, it's almost like we're asking teams to come and hit us on our weaknesses. I want to move to we talk about being back. You know me, Ben. I hate throwaway comments. It's my biggest pet hate in the world. He's world class. We're back. The tide is turning, but I don't like all that kind of stuff.
Buzzwords.
However, beat Man City tomorrow night, and we're on a bit of a run. For me, beat Man City, and you're now four wins in a row, right? You're now starting to go, right, are we in touching distance of the top 7, top 8 that are European contenders? And what that looks like at the moment, Ben, is this. There's the Premier League table. Hopefully you can see that if I remove. Yeah, there we go. So
there we go.
At the moment, it's a big game tomorrow, because win that game tomorrow, you're up to 36 points within touching distance of the top 10. But more importantly, a couple of wins, depending on the other games, off of 7th or 8th, which is likely to get you Europe. Lose the game, Ben, and it's the other way. Lose the game, and we could be 10 to 13 points off of those European places. So tomorrow suddenly become, I know I've seen people say I've seen people say free hit, and we've won 3 in a row. So
No such thing as a free hit now.
It's a massive game, isn't it? It's a massive game.
Why do Spurs fans love the word free hit now?
I don't know.
I'm not delusional, and everyone knows I'm the ultimate pessimist. And win against City and then go on a run. Top 5 is then feasible. Oof. Top 5, ooh. It's a heavy ask, but it is feasible. You can have it in your if this team loses against this team, it is then mathematically possible. I am the ultimate pessimist.
I think that's a big ask. Fifth's a massive ask, isn't it?
It is possible. There's that 1% chance of if results go our way and we continue to pick up points, it's then possible. We get 5th. We get 5th. Like, and the way it works, we get Champions League football next year. This is me being realistically. This is me trying to. It is possible if you look at that league table.
But Newcastle are 11. They're 11 points clear of us, and
11 points is not insurmountable, Savva. We've seen. I know this is me saying that this is not me comparing us to Man City. We've seen Man City turn over 15-point deficits to win the league. We've seen them do it.
But
this isn't against title challenges. These are against teams that are very, very much inconsistent. So let's put a winning run together. Let's try and get 7th. If 5th is possible, 7th is possible. Do you know what I mean? If we can get 7th, finishing 7th, we've spared our blushes. And you say, okay, we've got European football. True. Let's see what we can do next season. I don't think 5th is possible, but mathematically it is. Mathematically, it is possible if results go our way. So it's an incredibly important game. It puts us in an earshot.
But lose it. But I mean, and this is the devil's advocate.
Lose. We're looking behind us again.
Yeah,
that's where we are in the table.
Yeah, this is look. We've had to win 3 games just to get ourselves 6 points off the top 10, which shows you how bad the season's been. Which is why I can never turn around, Ben, and say, we're on a good run. We've turned things around. We should never be 12th, 6 points off the top half.
That's why I'm so angry about these performances, Savva, because we've seen if we could just defend, if we could have just bought a few more senior players instead of buying kids, we could be 7th now. We could be 7th in an earshot of top 4. So we have thrown away this season. We have.
Ben, I'll say this.
We've done a Spurs.
I've said this all season. When people keep telling me we've not got a squad that could be top 4, I'm looking at the Premier League table this season, right? I'm looking at the table. I'm saying Man City are in no form at all over the span of the season, right? Newcastle United had a terrible start. Now they're doing well again, but they've still lost a few in their last 6 games.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason with a better manager why we shouldn't have been in and around that 4th or 5th fighting for Champions League.
And this, my opinion, Savva. If we had let's say we had an Allegri. I know I'm not the biggest fan of Allegri. You're not the biggest fan of Allegri. Allegri would have us in the top 5, top 6 quite easily. We'd be boring to watch. But we'd be in and around that top 4 spot, top 5, top 6 spot quite easily. We'd be difficult to beat away from home. We'd be coherent. So it is on the manager. It is on the players. It's, you know me, Savva. I want this project to be reset. I want this project to be reset in the summer. This is a vanity project now. We have thrown away 2 years trying to back something that's puts on one of the worst reigns of form that I've ever seen in Tottenham's Premier League history. It's crazy talk. It's absolutely crazy that we're still even in this situation and how we've had better managers than this who have got pedigree and we've sacked them for better results. And now we're keeping this one. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But this is the pessimist talking.
Let me ask you this. If I had shown you this, right? If I had shown you that as a prediction in the summer and said, this is where Tottenham will be after 26 games, every football fan in the world would have called me mad. Every football fan in the world would have said, what an awful shit season, he's got to go. Now, listen, I'm not going to do the whole Ange in, Ange out thing. All I'm saying is he's in a stage now where he's getting praise for winning these games against these poor teams. He's getting praise for it. For me, this is what's keeping him in the job. For me, this shouldn't be something where we go, we're back or we're praising or blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I don't know over the last 2 years what we are. I genuinely don't know, Ben. I don't know whether we're this team that play sweeping, full-flowing, front-footed football. Are we this team that plays shoe horse, unbearable, boring, 400, 500 passes a game, sideways, backwards? I don't know what we are because there's no consistency in anything that we do under this manager. What I do know is he's got an opportunity now, right? But I said after the Ipswich game, Ben, fine. When we played Brentford, they were bottom half. When we played Ipswich, they're bottom 3. When we played Man United, they're bottom half. The next 4 games are all against the top 9.
Yeah. If we lose all 4 games, Savva, for example, you've just got to say, you know what, guys? We've had a really good opportunity to try and spare our blushes, as I said before. Again, as the guys are hounding me in the chat for saying that it is mathematically possible. It is. It's factually, mathematically possible. Well, if he loses the next 4 games, then it's just disgusting. It's disgusting.
Well, look, I don't think we will. I don't think we will win the next 4 or lose the next 4, right? I think it's going to be a bit of a mixture. But if you look at the next 4, you've got Man City who are 4th, Bournemouth who are 6th, you've got Chelsea who are 7th, and you've got Fulham who are 10th. So you've got 4 at the top half. Now, I'll say this right now on my channel. If this manager goes all 4 of those games unbeaten, right, I'll turn around and I'm going to go, you know what, I'll back off a little bit from him. But I'm not, this is the thing, Ben, people can call me a pessimist, whatever, negative. I'm not easily pleased that we beat, I think Ipswich are one of the worst Premier League teams I've ever seen.
They're not great,
I feel for them. They've just not got the quality. And this Man United,
had loads of injuries. I know Spurs are the only team that's allowed injuries. Spurs are the only team that's allowed injuries. They've had, how many injuries did they have? 8 injuries?
Listen, loads of teams have injuries. It's just our fans have, what we've been very clever with, our fans this year, is it's making people believe that, other teams might have injuries, but they don't affect the team as much as ours do. And I'm like, well, why? Why?
Well, it's more because you're a Spurs fan. It's more important for a promoted team, isn't it, Savva? Because they're more likely to give me a smaller ship. They're going to be more togetherness in a team because they've come up through the ranks, of the championship, and they'll be more. So yes, it'll be more important for a champion because they know each other better. Whereas teams like Tottenham should have the firepower, even if it's not fully clicking. We should have the firepower to not be in the position we're in. And this is a very good good learning curve for someone like a Kieran McKenna, who I think is a very good manager. I think he's a very good potential. I think he's a very good potential Premier League manager in the future. Just like we thought Eddie Howe would be back in the day with Bournemouth. Everyone used to go at Eddie Howe saying he couldn't organise a defence. I was one of them. He's gone to a proper side in Newcastle after going on, like you said, his world tour of going to all the best football clubs and looking at their coaching methods.
Yeah.
And he's improved himself. He's gone to a big club like Newcastle and he's showing his mettle. He's showing that he's quite. I think Kieran McKenna can be the next vein of that football manager because we've seen what he did in the under-18s. The players at Tottenham are now pining about that coming through our youth system. A lot of them were managed by Kieran McKenna. He's a very good coach. So, injuries are important, but more likely for smaller teams who have that higher togetherness. Whereas bigger teams, it shouldn't matter as much because they've got the financial muscle to really have better squads, and we shouldn't be using it. It's embarrassing, really. We've created a narrative with excuses.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, and then this is what, you know, when I said about Spurs fans, this is what we do. No offense, big up to you, Steve. It's the copium. When we're saying apart from massive injuries, Brentford have had massive injuries. Bournemouth have had massive injuries. Man United have had massive injuries. Chelsea have got massive injuries right now. Man City have got massive injuries. Teams have massive injuries. And I asked this question the other day, Ben. This whole notion that we had 11, 12 players out, how many of them that were actually missing are players that were doing well, right? And have come back and really changed it. Because if you look now, we've got 3 proper first teamers missing. 3, which is Van de Ven, Romero, and Solanke. Now, Solanke for me, he's done okay. He's had an okay season, but I don't think he's done anything magnificent. Romero was having an awful season. I know people don't. He was having an awful season, and Mickey was doing Mickey Van de Ven things. When I heard this, when Bentancur comes back, Bentancur's not done anything since he's been back.
No, when Madison unfortunately with Bentancur, he's finished. He's finished as a footballer. After him, I feel for the guy because before he was very, very decent. Those culminations of all those ACL and all those really bad injuries that they've killed him as a footballer. He doesn't have the pace. He doesn't have the confidence in his own legs to take it on the half term anymore and drive forward.
No, sure.
When he came back. Like, remember that goal he scored against Man United and he stormed through the middle and he put it in the bottom corner. That's what he can't do that anymore. He doesn't have that explosiveness. He's finished as a footballer. I think Sonny's finished as a footballer. As much as I love Sonny, I think he's finished.
But my point was this, Ben. It's like when people are saying you can't compare that to our 12 out. What 12 out? Because if we're going to start adding players that have never really been in the first 11 as being out, like, people were adding Ben Davies to that, but wouldn't have him in their 11. No. People are adding Odegaard to that, wouldn't have him in their 11. People are adding, do you know what I mean? Mikey Moore was in that group, but wasn't in the 11, right? I do feel that it's a little bit disingenuous. When we say we had 12 first team players out, fine. Well, Bournemouth had 10 first team players out and lost 1 Premier League game in 15. So when we're talking about that, for me, losing players shouldn't mean suddenly everything falls apart and you just crumble. Losing players shouldn't. When people chuck in the Man City conversation, Man City are an anomaly. I don't know what people need to stop talking about Man City. Go, well, look at Man City. Man City are Man City, right? For me, what I've never understood
though with big teams, isn't it, Savva? When they win 4, 5, 6 in a row, they get lazy, and you've got to sell half this. This is the reason why I think the greatest manager of all time was Sir Alex Ferguson. Maybe not the greatest coach, but the greatest manager. One of the things Alex Ferguson always did when he won the league was he'd get rid of his top stars. He saw Ruud van Nistelrooy. He scored a ton of goals last year. He's too comfortable. I'm sacking him off and getting someone new. He's finished. Get rid of him. That's what Man City have won the league 4, 5 years in a row. They've got to change the team now because they think they're going to win the league before they've even started. So they're going to have to change the entire team. Their footballers are now 32, 33.
Oh, but they've already started doing that. They've already started doing that. Yeah. When you look at Marmoush, Nico,
quality,
Kustanov, you look how much he's blooding James McAtee into games now.
Yeah.
Right? He's already started doing that. In the summer, they'll go and buy 4 or 5 20 to 21 to 24-year-olds. People like Florian Wirtz, those types of players. But my issue is, listen, injuries are going to affect everyone, sure. But you know what? Yeah. Look, it's this narrative, right? It's this narrative. When you say we had some of our players back the last 3 weeks, who's been back in those last 3 games that's made a massive difference from our injury? Please, can someone tell me? Because Vicario's played 1 game or whatever. He's played 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Van de Ven and Romero are still not there. Adogi's played 1 game, right? Maddison's a scapegoat for everything. And when he was injured, he was, when Maddison's back, then he's the scapegoat. Bentancur's been there, right? Brennan Johnson, like who are we saying? Because
the only player that really makes a difference, and I'll die on this hill, Savva. Not that I'm very balanced when it comes to Brennan Johnson because I will still flat out say he's not a good footballer.
He's not. He's a good goal scorer.
But he is our Dele Alli in this team. Ghosts most games of football. Comes into the back post, goal. Comes in the back post, goal. You need that. And sometimes you need, I think the word is luxury players. And he's a very good luxury player to have because he doesn't do anything all game, but then gets the currency of the realm of football is goals. That is the currency of the realm. And he is rich in that. And I said it yesterday with Brian. If you get a good coach in with Brennan Johnson, I think you can make him a very solid footballer. If Brennan Johnson gets 25, 26 goal involvements this year, goals and assists, I'm delighted because he's not been coached, yet he's still putting up good numbers.
He is what he is.
He is what he is. He is our
I want to go away from individual players, though. I want to go away from individual players, right? I want to go away from individual players. This is the thing, right? Like this guy saying there's a small minority that think like you guys. The problem is, right, is when I'm looking at this, Ben, I'm looking at Spurs for the last 2 years with Ange. I know that some of our fans only want to look at a time during injuries. What about when he didn't have the injuries? Why are we not allowed to use that as a basis? This, without the injuries, this was our worst start to a season for 20 years. Without the injuries, we lost 7 of our last 10 games last season. Yeah. It feels like we're only allowed to talk about poor Ange with the injuries. And then this is my favorite, right? One of my favorites is this, right? One of my favorites is, this makes me laugh, right? Other teams don't have Europe, right? So what? When we were playing in Europe, the players that people are mentioning that are out weren't playing.
Or even better, Savva, all the Ange defenders were complaining at people. They were complaining about people for not wanting to beat Arsenal, not wanting to beat Man City because they wanted Champions League football. You wanted Champions League football last year, and now you're complaining about European football. You wanted the creme de la creme.
But you've got a manager that never rotated. This is my point, right? You've got a manager that never rotated. Now the excuse is, oh, well, he can't rotate. So hang on, he never did. Yeah. And then it's these clubs don't have Europe. Well, if I remember rightly, against Ferencvaros, against Galatasaray, against Karabag, against Alkmaar, none of these there was maybe a few of the first 11 played, but then the moment we get injuries, it's but we had injuries in Europe. Yeah, but he rotated in Europe. That was the one time he did rotate. And I just don't get it. People will do it this season. I'm going to
do something, Savva.
Hang on. People will do it again this season. If we get Europe, then next year it's, oh yeah, but we're playing twice a week. Yeah. That's what happens when you go into Europe. You can't want to get into Europe, then use Europe as an excuse. Yeah. I'll ask you this, to wrap it all off. I'll ask you this. When people say, but injuries, yeah? Brett, come on the show. I bet you don't. I bet Brett won't come on the show. Come on the show. Let's have a football chat. We're not impossible, mate. I'm going with 2 years of facts. 2 years of facts.
This is what I was going to say before, Savva. Forget Ange's Spurs European form. Let's go and look at Celtic. He took Celtic, one of the biggest clubs in European football, to their worst campaign in the history of that club. Angepostecoglou Celtic was the worst European team in that club's history. So you don't just have the 2 years of facts. You have those years of facts that he had with Celtic. Yes,
but Ben, what you get is this. Celtic. My facts. They're not my facts. I don't make up the facts. I don't make up the facts, Brett. They're there. And as I said, come on. I bet you won't. I bet you will not come on and have this chat, right? There's a lot of facts that show a total different... No. Facts can't change.
No.
Brett. Statistically, this manager's got one of the worst points per games ratio I've ever seen from a season. We've ever seen, not I. We've ever seen. We're out of both cups, right? With a whimper. We're bottom half of the Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur have 33 points from 26 games. These aren't my facts. These are the facts, Brett. They are the facts. Before our players got injured, Brett, did you see it? From the last 15 games of last season to the first 15 games of this season, that 30-game period was the worst of any Spurs manager for 47 years, right? That was no injuries. There was no injury crisis. He had his players fit. We were losing games. Now, here's what I will say. Yes, injuries, of course, affect teams. Of course they do.
Yeah.
But what I won't have is I'm going to reel off a number of games that it shouldn't have mattered with injuries. Leicester City at home. It shouldn't have mattered. Yeah? It shouldn't have mattered at all who we played. This Leicester team have won 1 in 11 or 12, and that was against Spurs. Leicester City at home. There's 3 points, right? There's 3 points in that game. Wolves at home, who were bottom 3 at the time with terrible form. That's 6 points. Ipswich at home. No excuses. That was a full-strength team. There's 9 points, right? Crystal Palace away. Hadn't won a game all season. That's 12 points. Leicester City away in the first game of the season. Dropped 2 points. That's 14 points. All of these games are games where there should be no, but Van der Ven and Romero are missing. Okay. So, it's, I feel like we're so disingenuous. We're so disingenuous. If I give my facts when we're not in an injury crisis, I'm negative. I give my facts during an injury crisis. I don't get it. Romero was playing crap anyway.
Yeah.
Right? When Vicario, this is what makes me laugh as Spurs fans. When Vicario wasn't playing, it was, oh my God, look how good Kinski is. Sure. Right? Look who's done well. Look who have been our better players that have come in. It's been Jed Spence. Believe it or not, guys, if it wasn't for the injury crisis, Jed Spence wouldn't be in the team. Bergval's a baller. Guess what, guys? If it wasn't for those injuries, Bergval wouldn't have been in the team. So I'm just really frustrated that this manager seems to just do whatever he wants. He can lose as many games as he wants, and it's not his fault. It's never, ever, ever his fault. And I'm just getting a bit bored of that notion. Sorry, rant over.
Oh, it's a very good rant. It's just when we go into the realm if it's your fact, I think it's very disingenuous. Of course, it's funny because a lot of people, but the players aren't good enough. Why are you asking for them to come back? Because we were worse when we had these players in the team. Let's not beat around the bush. When Romero was in the team, we were worse. We were worse when we had players like, I love Udogie. I think he's a very good footballer, Udogie. We were worse. So we're asking for players to come back in the team who everyone else is blaming for the poor run of form. And then players like Spence have come in and been brilliant. Danso has come in and showed real quality in the last couple of games. I really quite like Danso. And we're asking for them to get out the team. We're better with these worse players. We're better with them in the team.
But Ben, look at this. If you look at this, this is what, again, the facts that people go, my facts, not my facts. Again, we've actually got a better defensive record without these two playing. But people are going, when they're back, but we've got a better defensive record without them. Like, they're going to come back in. We know they're going to come back in. But what happens when they come back in and we lose games? What's the excuse then? Those two played the whole of the back end of last season and the whole of the first half of this season so far. And we were losing and letting in goals. And it's just gone, it's just mad. Like the facts that, another one I get all the time is, he's had to play the same 11 players for 2 months. No, he hasn't.
No,
sorry. No, he didn't. He's not played the same 11 players. And when people are going, well, who could have played? Well, look at all the games he didn't play Jed Spence. He could have played. Look at all the games he didn't play Archie Gray in midfield. He could have played. Look at all the games Serge Reguilon could have played. He didn't play. Right? So all of this, he's got the same 11 players. No, he hasn't. He hasn't had 11. We're going on 2 or 3 games where our bench was full of kids. And everyone goes, for the entire 2 months, we couldn't play anyone. It's utter nonsense.
Mhm.
I've never ever known, right? I don't know what this means. Keep living in ill health. I don't know who that's aimed at. Can we not talk like that, please?
It's not very nice,
That's
is it?
that's really weird. Please, can we not talk like that to anybody? Exactly. Marios said 2-0 against Chelsea, 2-0 against Brighton, but he didn't see the game out. Marios, this is what I mean. Losing 3-2 to Brighton, nothing to do with injuries. 2-0 up against Chelsea and losing 4-3. That's not injuries. That's management. Yeah.
Mhm.
When we beat Man City 4-0, no one talked about injuries. Why were the players good enough to beat Man City 4-0? But then when you go and lose to a Leicester at home, oh, but he's had injuries. Which one is it?
I don't.
It's just I just don't understand why we're not allowed to ever be honest. Don't get it.
It beats me. It beats me. And we saw even in the golden run that people are still clutching onto. Like 18 months ago was a very long time ago. 18 months ago, even then, it took us 105 minutes to beat Sheffield United. Even back then, we were scraping wins. And yes, you do need to have a bit of luck. And yes, you do need to go an entire game sometimes to win a game of football. But we were doing it every game, having to wait until the last stages of games to get the 3 points. This is unsustainable football. It's incredibly unsustainable. And the best football teams go away from home, keep it tight at the back, take your chances, and you manage a game of football with. You don't play this way. I hope my Leeds, because I've got loads of friends that support Leeds now. I'm big up to my Leeds friends. When Bielsa came to the Premier League, he was playing gun-ho football every single week, and it got them relegated. It got all their players injured, and it got them relegated in the end. This is what this is, but it's with a bigger. It's. I've say this in Jesse's chat the entire time. Spurs and Leeds are so similar to the way we're set up. We're just all these excuses. It's all these excuses.
Just watch top coaches talking about Ange's style of football. That's all I'll say. Yeah, you are going to get wins. You're going to get wins against Ipswich. You're going to beat crap Man United teams. You're going to have the anomalies against Man City where you win 4-0. Yeah, but it's you can see we're not coached. Lulu, I saw your point. It's funny when people like you say to me, "What's the point in coming on? You just shut people down." Lulu, people like you never come on to actually see that that's true. If you come on here with stats and facts, you come bring to me your stats and facts and come on the show. You and Brett are giving it the big one in the chat. Come on, don't cop out by going, "Oh, let's have a look at your comment." Your comment here was this, right? Why would anyone come on your show? All you do is try and shut people down. It's only your opinion, right? Come on then with your facts and tell me I'm wrong. Come on with your facts. Tell me I'm wrong. I bet you don't. You and Brett, people like you don't. You won't do it because it's easy behind a keyboard to just say these things, right?
I mean, what did you used to? You did an entire show on a Monday evening from 6 o'clock. It was called Debate Savva. I used to really enjoy it because we got gems such as the bottom of the V. But none of these people ever came on. It's always people like me that came on because I want to chat with you, Savva, because I like chatting with you. I don't really need to come on a StreamYard because I've got your phone number. But
yeah.
But none of them ever came on. And this is the thing. We are accused so much in our space, because this is our space of this particular community. We're accused of being echo chamber. No, we're not. We love talking football. We want to, if we can have a really fun conversation about football and disagree, but at the end of the night, you know what, Savva, I disagree with you. You're still a nice bloke. We can still have a drink together. That's the way it works. But people, they love to throw the mud, they throw the things, and then they dip out. They dip out and they don't want to chat. Let's have a chat. I love chatting football. It's great.
The links there, I've just put the link in. Let's see one of those come on. Because what I find with these people is it's easy to say things. Like if we look at this, things change. Francis, this is what Ben and I talked about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That if the pendulum swings, it swings. But for all of the people who say things are changing, things are looking good. We're 12th in the Premier League and out of both cups. No, things are not looking good. I'm sorry, but this can't. We can't have fallen so far away from Tottenham Hotspur, yeah, and our standards that we're saying things like things are looking good. Somebody else has said, what if we win the next 4 away games, Savva? What will you say then? This is not about 1 month. This is about 2 years. I don't know how people don't get this. I'm looking at his overall 2 years, right? I'm looking at, no, Miss Bunny, Gaurav got put in a timeout by me for spamming. He put the same message 5 times. Don't need it. I can read the comments.
Miss Bunny's just looking for excuses to blame me on all the other YouTube channels. It's okay.
Exactly. Savva's talking facts, other giving opinions. David, listen, isn't it funny? As I said, all the people that want to have a go at me, they never showed up to debate Savva, and they'll never come on now. The link is there. You look, Brett will disappear now, right? Brett will disappear. That Lulu, nowhere to be seen. That Lulu will be nowhere to be seen, because what they do is, David, is they take facts. They're not my facts. How can I have my Tottenham Hotspur facts? They're facts. We are 12th in the table, right? We've lost 13 Premier League games from 26. We have a 50% defeat rate this season. Mm-hmm. And I've got people going to me, oh, you're so negative. That's shit. I've got people telling me that Ruben Amorim, oh, terrible. Ruben Amorim should get sacked. He's 3 points behind us. So why is he shit? Yeah, he's shit. But our manager's amazing. You wait until we get play. It's Steve, agreed. Things are changing. Things will be changing, right? When we're not sitting 12th in the Premier League and we're in cups. We've just been knocked out of both cups in the whimper. And the problem is, sorry for the rant, Steve, the problem is these people, these same people that are calling me out are the same ones that were telling me, you'll be in the mud when we win the League Cup. You'll be in the mud when we win the FA Cup. They're the same people that keep saying these things. They keep being wrong, and they keep moving the goalposts as to, but. Yeah.
Yep. I could do some mud Savva on my face. My skin is so bad. A mud bath might be a really good thing for me. So put me in the mud. It's a win-win situation. I hate, if I'm right, I like being right, because who doesn't like being right and seeing that their opinion actually is, it comes true and you think you know what you're talking about. If we lose, we win, because we win a trophy and we get to celebrate and say, yay, Spurs won a trophy. Yay. I want to win a trophy. I've only seen one I've been alive. 2 trophies have been won in my lifetime. 99 and I was 4, and 2008 where I was there. I want to see Spurs win a trophy. If they prove me wrong, fantastic. Give them another year.
I don't care about being right or wrong. I don't care about being right or wrong, Ben.
Yeah.
I don't care about it. What I'm frustrated about is if I am right with the things I've said and I am pointing out facts, that people then go, oh, you're negative and wrong. How can I be? We are in an awful season that people are praying that we win the Europa League, because that's the only thing that's going to salvage it. Like, look at this, Lulu. What if we win the next 4 or 5 games in a row? Right? Then we'll be on a good run. I don't know why people like you don't listen. And this is why I'd love you to come on, but you won't, because you're a troll. No real name, no picture. You're a troll, right? What I'd love for you to do is come on and tell me, why is it if Spurs were to win the next, let's say Spurs win the next 4 games, like you say, plus the 3 we've won, why is it if we've won 7 in a row, right? If we've won 7 in a row, fans like you will go mad. There you go. It's brilliant. See, but then when I'm getting all of those facts about the number of defeats, I'm still wrong. Why does it only work with the wins? Why is it if you win all those games, everything's great, but when we lose them all, you still can't see what a shit job he's done? If you watch this Spurs team play, right, and think that this is a well-drilled, well-managed football team, I don't know what to tell you. This is not a well-drilled football team. You know, when you say, you just said just now, I've got dignity. Come on the show. Let's have a sensible chat. Me and you. Bet you don't. Brett, look at Brett, disappeared because you're all trolls. You can't actually come on and have a football conversation because you know you'll say something. I'll provide some facts to prove that what you've said is either wrong or helpful. Yeah. I said, Brett, listen, no. What I did, I said, if he wins the next 4, what I'll do is give a bit more leeway. I said, I'll sit back and go, okay, all right. But Brett, the difference is this. Why is it when he was losing all those games, why is that not the same, the opposite as if he's winning games? He's beaten Ipswich and Man United, Brett. He's beaten Ipswich and Man United, the 2 teams in the bottom 3 of the form table for the last 15, 20 games. But yet that's what we're going to get excited about. And you know what, Ben? I'm almost, if we beat Man City, our fans will lose their mind. It's like we don't want the truth.
We're shameless. We're totally shameless.
Great point. So what if we do win the next 4 games without Romero and Van der Ven then? Doesn't that put what if we win the next 4 games without Romero, Van der Ven and Solanke? Right? So does that mean then that it wasn't an injury crisis because we could still win the games without them? I just don't get it. Why are we winning these 3 games then with no Solanke, no Romero, no Van der Ven? If they're so important and we can only win games with them, why are we winning games without them then? I'll tell you why, because we're playing crap teams. Oh, this football club, man. This football club. Our fans are just, I've never seen it so low in terms of standards.
It's what happens when you're so, what's it called? You're so starved at success as a football club in terms of being a football club. We're trying to celebrate anything we physically can because we're so starved. Anything. It's like me when I was what's it called? Probably a very weird analogy. When I was hospitalized in 2014 and I hadn't eaten in a week because I couldn't eat without being dreadfully unill, and my esophagus went. They gave me this liquid to drink to see where the hole in my esophagus was, and I thought that tasted amazing. And they're like, "Are you mad? That tastes disgusting. You're the only person ever." It's like that. We're so starved that even the disgusting liquid tastes good. That's how bad we are.
Oh.
That's how bad. That's how starved of anything good in our life is in terms of as a football club. We're celebrating anything we can just for the sake of it. It's not right.
I completely agree with you. But again, what makes me laugh? This is what absolutely makes me laugh. So now the excuse is because we had rest. That's more important than the injuries. No, we played a really crap Man U and a really crap Ipswich. We're playing in the red zone for 2 months straight. Facts don't matter. Like, again, sorry, where's this guy? This guy's brilliant. A troll won't come on. You just can't see any other opinions. You're using opinion. I'm using fact, Brett. There's a difference. My opinion isn't what I'm saying. My outright opinion is this manager is shit. Yeah, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt at the moment till the end of the season. I think he's shit, right? But look at the last bit of his sentence, Ben. We have won games without most players. So why should we be bottom half of the table then? If we can win games without most players, why should we be bottom half, Ben? Why can't we beat Wolves and Ipswich and Palace and Leicester? If we can win games without players, why aren't we winning games without those players?
Beats me.
See what I mean? Their argument, Ben. See what I mean? It's, but the players are missing. Oh, we win games without those players. Which one is it? These people, that's why they won't come on stream, Ben. They've got no coherent argument and debate. What I've done here today is shown you that people like Lulu and Brett are dumb as fuck. I'll call you out, and I'm getting angry now. I'll call them out for what they are. You're dumb as fuck. You keep saying everything you're saying, yeah? The sentence afterwards, you say something that contradicts it. Yeah, they're dumb. Why do you think Liverpool did their full 11 against Plymouth? Oh, they went out too. They didn't rest. Cool. Yes, we're going to use this.
when you what's it
You're a
called?
troll, Brett. You're a troll. You're an idiot. Go away. Sorry. Sorry, Ben.
With when Liverpool lose to a team like Plymouth, it's an anomaly. When Spurs beat Man City and then lose 4 games afterwards, I don't know how many games we beat Man City and we didn't win a game for like 2 months, right? Something incredibly stupid. I can't remember who it was. That's when it becomes an anomaly. It's an anomaly because after that, Liverpool have gone on a run. They're they're almost certain for the league title. They're almost certain for it. Big up Smithy, mate. Big up Smithy.
But they do. We
anomaly.
take other teams' anomalies and use that. Like we could turn around and go, but they lost that one game. Yeah, but Ange Postecoglou's lost 13 league games. Ange Postecoglou's lost 13 games in the Premier League. The only managers that have lost more than that are Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton. That is diabolical. That is diabolical. But Ashraf, what are we doing here? Right. So let's use your opinion. Let's use your argument, Ashraf. Again, this is where people don't use their brain, right? When Liverpool play in the Champions League, right? Like us, oh, but they're in Europe. They're in Europe. Liverpool put their best 11 out. Liverpool put their best 11 out in the Champions League week in, week out. When we've played in the Europa League, we've rotated in the Europa League. So Liverpool's players are playing relentlessly. One game he does it against Plymouth, and suddenly, see, Slot does it. Like, what? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's absolutely mad. There's nothing that you can see from the first 10 games from last season slowly coming back now. There's nothing that you can see from the first 10 games from last season slowly coming back now. I think we look awful, mate. I think we look awful. Brett, starting to crack. Mate, you can't even come on and talk, mate. You're a troll. You're an absolute troll who can't even come on and back your point up. Come on and back your point up.
Opinions are great, Savva, but you need to use your fact. You need to use facts to govern your opinion. That's the way I see it.
12. Tottenham are 12. Facts. Facts, facts, facts. Brett, come on and debate against me. Why are Tottenham 12? Why are Tottenham losing 13 games from 26? If you're telling me it's because we've had injuries, 13 defeats from 26. Steve, he's not gonna. These people can't. They don't have any evidence. They don't have facts. They cannot come on. Right? They cannot come on and talk. Because you'll see, if Brett comes on, we'll all see that he's got no debate. He's great in a chat room. We see this all the time. These people are brilliant in a chat room. Him, Lulu, right? They're in a chat room. Yeah, even Phil, like, I'm giving him that time to prove himself. Phil, you flip-flopped. About 2 months ago, you were like, oh, I'm Ange out now. Yeah, it's crap, blah, blah, blah. We win 3 games against crap teams, and I'm giving him that time to prove. It's like, we don't have any standards. We don't have any standards as a fan base at all. So this is why, Ben, I'll call it. When people keep telling me, go and protest for Levy out. Why? What's the point? We've got no standards. We've got no standards. What's the point? See, look, Savva, I'm going to enjoy the ride. What ride? We're bottom half of the table, out of both cups, and we've lost 13 games this season. What ride have you wanted me to enjoy? Why do you want me to enjoy, right, such bad results for 2 years? What part of that?
It's the worst ride I've ever seen. It's the worst ride. It's like as much as I love Small World because I'm a child. It's like being on Small World at Disney World and the ride stops halfway and you're stuck in Small World for 10 years. Yeah, I like Small World. I don't want to be stuck here for 10 years. Big up Small World. Big up Small World. If you know, you know.
I'm guessing this isn't the real Paul O'Keefe, but our PE teacher manager has beaten Liverpool, City, United, Villa, West Ham, Brighton his first 2 years. According to you, Savva is not fit. Sure, we're 12th in the Premier League. This is what I mean. You can bring me all of this facts. This manager this season has lost to Ipswich, to Palace, not being able to beat Leicester twice. He couldn't beat Wolves. He couldn't beat Fulham. What are we doing? He lost away at Everton. What are we doing here? What is... I'm almost at the stage where I kind of give up with YouTube football because we've got so many fans that the facts are there, Ben. And I'll do it again. Look, we are 12th and we've lost 13 games all season. I've never seen us this bad, right? Let's get some super chats.
Yeah.
This one. Big up Ricardo. Said we lost 5 in the first 12 with a fully strength defense. The 13 we lost in total in the Premier Leagues because of the clown coach. 13 defeats, that's embarrassing. 5 from the first 12, but I'm told that we only lose games because of injury, Ben.
Yeah.
The facts are there. We weren't doing well before the injuries. Big up to you, Ricardo. A user said, some back to bench. Sell Richie. Try Tell in the Sun role. Well, look, at the moment, I think we might see Tell there, possibly when Solanke comes back. I just don't see this manager dropping Son. I've never seen it. And again, look how crazy everyone's got about Son because he had a good first half against Ipswich against a really crap Ipswich. The standards are so low. Big up to you, a user. Big up Ricardo. Aris, big up to you. Just putting in a super sticker. Really appreciate that. And thank you. A couple of people sent me super stickers to my post yesterday for what was I saying? For Frank. So I really, really do appreciate that, guys. As you all know, it was a very difficult day for me, and people sending lots of loves and hugs, and some people sent money through, which was crazy. But thank you very much for that. And Aris, you were one of those, so thank you. And then Rob Frank has been a member now for 9 months. Big up to you, Rob. Much love, appreciate that. Look, we're in a position we're in because Ange sometimes gets it horribly wrong, and we've had the worst injuries in a long time. Yeah, but dude, why did Bournemouth lose 1 in 15 when they had 9 to 10 injuries? Because they're a well-drilled, well-oiled side, Brett. That's my point. Clubs have injuries. But if you're well-oiled, if you're well-drilled, you don't lose all those games in a row. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. Look, at the end of the day, I'll say it as it is. Right? I'll say it as it is. If any football fan watches Spurs and thinks we're a good team and we're a well-oiled, well-drilled team, then they don't understand tactics and coaching. I'll say that outright. Tactically, coaches talk about Spurs now. They're pulling us apart for how poorly we are set up. But we beat a couple of crap teams and we're back. He's turning things around. We're so easily pleased.
It's reactionary. It's as reactionary as people accuse us of being, Savva. We were told we were incredibly reactionary for going Ange out ages ago, saying how we're not patient, we're reactionary, we're hyperbolic. It's the same thing. We beat 3 awful teams and suddenly we're the best team since sliced bread again. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. We can't be reactionary, and then you act like this, and you're not reactionary. We need to stop this name calling about other people. Let's look at the football for what it is. Someone in the chat put it in. Since the Chelsea game, we're 12th in the form. We were 12th in the form table, and we're 12th. And it makes sense. We're 12th in the form table, and we're 12th. That's where we're at. That's where this manager has got us. One of the biggest football teams in the world. We're 12th. That's what he's done. We weren't 12th before this. I've never seen us 12th in this time of year since I was a child, probably, before pre-Martin Yo era. It's just
Brett.
Awful.
Big up, Brett. We row, we debate, we fight, but big up to you. I'll see you tomorrow for some more fun. Big up to you. Look, listen, Ben, I agree with you. Listen, as I've said, this squad for me should be 4th or 5th with a proper good manager. Without a proper good manager, this squad for me should be 7th, where I predicted us at the beginning of the season. If we don't finish seventh, I don't care if he's had injuries or not. That is down to him. When you have injuries, you adapt. When you have injuries, and when you have injuries, no, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. We beat Man City 4-0 with injuries.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can beat Man City 4-0 with injuries, the injuries we've had shouldn't have seen us losing to Leicester, drawing with Wolves. These results should not happen. This no-nonsense football fan, agree. I've never seen our backline have a shape. I agree. That's not injuries. That's his style of play. Paul Summerfield, bang on. The league table won't lie. It won't. Last year, it didn't lie. We were the 5th best team. We had a brilliant start, a terrible end. Fine. This year, we didn't have a brilliant start, right? So he's got to have a brilliant end to resurrect it. Big up, Lee. Sorry to hear about your dog, Dad. Yeah, thank you. Listen, it was a very tough day. Very, very tough day indeed. Lots and lots of tears in the household. Alfie, Frank passed away yesterday, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Sunday night, I went to bed after the Spurs review, woke up at about 1 a.m, and he just came and collapsed. He jumped on the bed, collapsed in my arms, and looked at me as if to say, I'm done. We took him to the vets, and they said there was a tumor the size of a football in his stomach. So unfortunately, we had to make the decision to put him down. So listen, I'm going to cry, so I won't get there. But thank you very much for asking. I really appreciate that.
It's been a bad week for the French bulldog because the Rock lost his French bulldog yesterday as well, which is also deeply sad. Losing a friend is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And now we got this little puppy on his own. Look.
Yeah.
Hello.
Big up, Stewie. That's my guy.
Stewie, say hello.
That's my guy.
You gonna say hello or even look at the screen? Yeah. Look, big up to you. This is an interesting one. Lulu has said no other team has had 12 first-team players out. How can you have 12 first-team players out? You can only get 11 in a team. So, again, a lot of these games, by the way, where people are saying 12 first-team players out, our midfield was like Basuma, Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison, Kulu, Son, Solanke. Right? These are first-team footballers. Porro. So, at no point did we have 12 out. But Brighton have had worse injuries than us this season, by the way, Lulu. So, when you're saying no other team, Brighton, Villa have had nearly as many injuries as us this season, Lulu. But because it's Villa, by the way, Villa, who are in Europe, who are in a Champions League season, who, with all their injuries, Villa have actually got out of the Champions League into the top 8. They went straight through. So all of this about depth.
It's about management, isn't it, Savva? It's about management. Management is so important. You manage the tools you've got. You don't use the same tools for every single job. But we think we can have a set method of doing absolutely everything and hoping that it works. You do the same things and expect the same results. But the same results have been awful. So you change your tact, you change your philosophy.
You do something.
And people are hounding Villa. But where they are, where are Villa in the table? They're 7th. Where are Villa in the table again? Can't remember. Can't remember. But they've still got a chance of getting into that top 5, which will get them because all the English teams in Europe are doing quite well at the moment. So I have no doubt that 5th spot will be a Champions League. So Villa finished 5th.
But this is what makes me laugh. We haven't had all our players out of the who out at the same time. For most of this injury crisis, Solanke was available, by the way. It's only the last 3 or 4 games he's missed, right? Most of it, Solanke was available. Kulu's been available. Son's been available. Maddison's been available. Bentancur's been available. Sarr's been available. Basuma's been available. Porro's been available, right? It makes me laugh. What we're talking about is the main ones here that have been consistently injured are Van de Ven and Romero. What the problem is, what people like Ash do, and I'll call you out for this, Ash. I know we're friends. I'll call you out for it, right? What we do is see how we belittle everyone else when they've got injuries, Ben. No, but not important. Look at Villa's back line at the moment. Look at Villa's back line in the last month. Look at the players they've been missing from the back. But no, it doesn't matter for them. It's only when Spurs have injuries that we can take it into account, right? It's absolutely unbelievable. Let's forget before the injuries. Vic, Romero, Radu. Oh, so Radu. We're going to put Radu in there now, are we? But when Radu was playing, the answer was, yeah, but Van der Ven and Romero are missing. So you can't have it both ways, right? Adogi, but Jed Spencer's come in and been our best player. Richarlison, go away. Werner, go away, right? Wilson Odeberg. How could you miss him? We've never seen him. And Dom,
minutes.
It's so disingenuous, right? Like, so just, but it's not been 3 months, Ash. This is lies. I hate this in our fan base. Who's been missing for 3 months? Van der Ven and Romero.
Yeah.
Who else has been missing for 3 months?
Most of the season anyway, because as you said, Romero plays 60% of his game, 67% of his games, and Van der Ven plays, what is it, 50? Is it 61 or was it 51? I can't remember. There's so little. Them perennial injury crisis. They're sick note. They're sick notes, the pair of them. Because Romero, funny enough, I don't want to make Nick right on something because I don't like making Nick right on anything. But he said about 3 weeks ago, Romero's going to be back for this game because he's got to play for Argentina 2 weeks later. And he's right. Romero's back training. He'll play against Man City. He'll play for Argentina. He'll be injured again.
So for me, I will give people Vicario for 3 months. But those very same people were saying, Kinski, what a good buy. The moment Kinski makes a mistake, but we're missing Vicario.
People were saying Kinski was a better goalkeeper than Vicario, weren't they? Remember that? He played one game and they said, Vicario's going to be on the bench soon. He's not good enough. He's not good enough with his feet.
And this, Ben, all of this, but he's been missing Van der Ven and Romero. Yes, because of him, because he brought them both back at the same time when they weren't properly fit and left Dragonstein, who we were missing apparently, on the bench. Like, listen, I get that injuries take their toll, but injuries shouldn't mean you lose at home to this awful Leicester City team.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Let me have a look, right? Yeah. No, Francis, Man City have got a multitude of issues, right? Man City have got a multitude of issues. I don't know why we're going to ever use us against Man City, a team that have won 4 league titles in a row, right? Listen, right, let's have a look. Right? So before Van der Ven and Romero got injured, they lost 5 of the 12 games they played together. 5 of the 12, Ben.
Yeah.
So they were nearly at a 50% loss rate with those two playing. But Van der Ven and Romero injured. Romero's always injured, right? Van der Ven's always injured. This isn't news. This isn't news, right? Let's have a look. This Leicester City team, by the way, this is what all these people, Ash, I'll chuck him in this. All of these people here, this is their excuse, right? Injuries for losing to Leicester City. This is the team that lost. Porro, Dragoshin, Davis and Gray, Sarr, Bentancur and Bergvall, Kulu, Ritchie and Son.
Yeah.
11 lost to Leicester City, right? Porro is Spain's right back. Dragoshin is Romania's centre-half. Ben Davis, if I'm not wrong, is the Welsh captain and the Welsh centre-half who's got, 100 caps or something. Archie Gray's this wonder kid. Bergvall, everyone's telling me how great he is. Bentancur's a brilliant midfielder. Papa Sarr, Yaya Soure, Sarr whatever, right? Kulu, best player in the team. Richarlison, but we missed him apparently. Son, he's our captain. Look at that 11, Ben. That 11 couldn't beat Leicester City. That 11 couldn't beat Leicester City. Now, let me go back even further, Ben, because I hate it when people are disingenuous, right? This is the team that couldn't beat Wolves, right? Porro, Dragoshin, Gray, and Adogi, right? Bentancur, Basuma, Son, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke.
Yeah.
That 11 couldn't beat Wolves at home. right? Now the excuse is, but they were knackered. They needed a rest. That 11 I've just read out is completely, is 5 or 6 players different to the 11 I just read out against Leicester, right? So those two teams couldn't win. Now let's have a look at Everton, right? Everton. We had Porro, Davis, Dragusin and Gray. Spence, Sarr, Bergvall, Maddison, Son, Kulu. That 11 isn't good enough to beat Everton.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what I mean. All of these people with these excuses about we've had injuries for 3 months. These players are missing. These 11s are good enough. But you know what? It's not coached. He doesn't make the 11s hard to beat. Right? So look at the players I've just mentioned there. By the way, that's all. If I go back to that last game, that's all since the Wolves game, right? Which was the 29th of December. So for 60 days, I've just mentioned 3 games, by the way of example, of 11s that have done badly. Now, let's take that one further. This team lost at home to Newcastle. Porro, Dragusin, Gray and Spence, Sarr, Bergvall, Solanke, Johnson, Kulu, Werner, right? The players that came on in that game was Son, Basuma, Maddison, Reguilon. So, Ben, what are the excuses? Like, these that's 4 games I've just shown in the last 2 months that we've not won, where the 11 we've had out is good. It's good enough to be winning games.
Or at least getting a point. At least getting a point.
Something, yeah. But this is what I mean. There's too many excuses. Si, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The problem is, Ben, this manager could have his best 11 available, lose loads of games, there'd still be an excuse. Yeah. He lost 5 out of 12. Look at Phil. Phil's just another enabler. These players are playing at 40, 50, 60%. Don't play Kulu then.
Yeah. He drops Maddison though. Anytime he gets a chance. Maddison just come back from injury and had a good game against Man United. He immediately dropped Maddison against Ipswich, of all teams, and he played Kulusevski. Why not play Maddison and let Kulu have a game on the bench? It's madness. He's got his favourites and he plays them, and people like Maddison, he makes a scapegoat. Unluckily for Ange, Jed Spence has been so good he can't drop him, because if he dropped him, people would be on his neck again. So let's see. Football it's a very strange game. But
here you go. Just going back to the game before Wolves. Let's go to a 5th game that we weren't able to win. This was the 11 against Nottingham Forest. Spence, Dragusin, Gray, Udogie, Bentancur, Sarr, Son, Kulu, Johnson, Solanke. That's your best front 4. Yeah. That's your best front 4. That's 2 of your best centre midfielders, right? Why couldn't we score a goal against them? This is what I don't get. People who just say the injuries, right? If Kulu is not fit, if Kulu needs rest him. Yeah. That's on the manager, which is what my whole debate is about, Ben, right? It's the manager.
He dropped Maddison, who had a really good game against Man United, and played Kulu, who's absolutely shot at the moment. He's shot. He's got no energy left. Yet he plays. How many? Kulusevski played the entire game against Ipswich, didn't he? He played the entire game.
Yeah, he doesn't take him off. He doesn't take him off. Again, bad management. But we're not allowed to mention bad management. You're not allowed to mention it. And I'll bring Lubo in, because everyone needs a bit of Lubo in their life. But this is I've just given.
The sun is shining on Lubo today. The sun is shining on him.
Just quickly, right? So I just broke down, Lubo, 5 games in the last 2 months where Spurs failed to win. People told me it was through injuries. And we've looked at the 11s that played. And they're all different 11s, by the way, where players, some are fit, some are not. Lubo, I get it when we've got injuries, right? But, and good morning to you, sir, but surely, Wolves, Leicester, Palace, Ipswich, Fulham, Everton, surely we've had good enough teams out to take points against these clubs, haven't we? Surely.
I think the biggest problem. I was listening to your show driving back to the office before, and so let's just go back to facts. Let's go back to facts. Let's take out the bounce from last season, the first 10 games, and let's talk about the last 28 games where they finished 12th, which is exactly where we are now.
Yep.
And if you look at we've all agreed that the system doesn't help the players. The continual recovery runs, the high line doesn't help the players and has contributed towards injuries. So let's just put all of that to one side, and the fact that for me, a lot of players this season have been poor, much poorer than last season. For me, I just look at the facts, and before this bad run of injuries, it all defeats Rights Grace, obviously.
I had to bring it up, Lubo.
That's
I had to bring
okay.
it up for you.
That's okay. Lost my train of thought now. We were winning and then losing. It was a bit like snakes and ladders, wasn't it? For several weeks, we were losing some bad games and winning some good games. You know, both that you wouldn't particularly predict. You wouldn't predict we'd lose at home to Ipswich. You wouldn't predict we'd win at City. So so there were some different results going on, but it was very up and down, wasn't it?
Yeah, very.
And then you had the injuries, and you had a pile-on of injuries compared to previously. And what that did is that it led to that where I have sympathy with any manager who has big injuries and doesn't really have a bench, there are no options. You know, if you're manager, Sav, and you've got the bench that you had on Saturday to pick from, to bring players on for whatever reason, to close a game out, to give players a rest, for whatever reason, and then you have a bench with, I don't know, you had Casanova on one bench, you had Olasesti, you've got all these kids,
there's been a couple of benches where it was all kids. Sure, I don't.
That's right. So he didn't have the options. Now, for me, the system's wrong. Players aren't performing, but you also lost that option of bringing players on. And the other thing also was that with players that were injured, with key players that were injured, and unfortunately, you know, whatever we think of him, as I heard Ben talking about Johnson's, you know, currency when it comes to goals. You've got no one else apart from him in the team that scores goals like that, and hasn't done since Ange came in. Apart the odd one from Solanke, but otherwise those sort of goals, that's Johnson. We lost Maddison for 3 weeks. That was a big blow, particularly for the cup games, because he brings you something that nobody else does. He has these reverse passes. He brings forwards into play, you know, and he controls the game.
Brennan Johnson only missed 3 Premier League games. Can we, you know, just for a bit of perspective, we're talking like Brennan Johnson was out for 3-4 months. He missed 3 Premier League games
and 2 cup games. I mean, it all.
Yeah. Cup, sure, but
yeah. So for me,
let me ask you,
the injuries didn't help. So. But we are where we are. But we're where we are. We are a 12th in the table club with this manager. 12th for the last 28 games last season, and we've had 26. We had 54 matches, and we're 12th. Yep. So there's all the proof you need. That's where we are. We're where we are. We deserve to be where we are under this manager.
Lubo, that's been you and I. Do you know what? You and I, Lubo, right? I think we come at this from you start there, I start there, but we're kind of meeting there. You come at it from the point of view of, well, look, that's where we should be anyway as a club. Look what we're doing. I come at it from the point of view, if you actually look at the facts and evidence, if you take that 10-game run out last season, this is what that manager has got us. He has got us to a point where we are a 10th to 12th place football team.
Yeah, I do think though that whereas last year, after the first 10 games, I think the next 9 games were really poor. Then we had 9 games or 10 games, I think, where we got 20 points. but we were playing lower place clubs mainly. And then for the last 9 games, I think we won. Or the last 10, we won 3. I think we beat Forest, Luton, and and Burnley, or Burnley, Sheffield United, and Luton. And then we lost 5 or 6, and we drew 1 with West Ham. This year, it's been up and down. And then we had more injuries than normal, and we got 1 point out of 21, which is a real drop-off, a massive drop-off. Players have come back, and we've won 3 on the spin. Now, I'm not saying, for whatever reason, some you deserve to win, some you don't deserve to win. But this is Tottenham. There is no consistency at all. You get results when you don't deserve it, and you play better, and you lose. So this, unfortunately, this is what this system brings. So when I look at, we hadn't had a run of 6 defeats and 1 draw previously before all these injuries. We've been up and down, and we're mid-table. But this was relegation form, and this is where I do think the injuries did bite, because when you've got a system that's wrong, you've got a lot of players that are out of form, but you don't have the options off the bench. Then that's your final chance to try and put it right, and it's gone. It's gone.
But when we're saying we don't have the options off the bench this season, at any point he could have used Spence.
No, I agree.
Hang on. He could have used Spence at any point to rest Udogie and Porro, so there weren't injuries. He didn't. At any point, he could have used Reggie to rest Udogie and didn't. At any point, he could have put Archie Gray in central midfield and didn't. Yeah. At any point, he could have said, "You know what, Kulusevski, you've played loads of games. Come and sit on the bench for a game." He didn't. At any point this season, right? Van der Ven and Romero, the biggest ones, right? The biggest ones for me are the 2 biggest injuries that everyone's talked about for the injury crisis are Van der Ven and Romero. Is that fair? All the others have been kind of in and out. Van der Ven and Romero are the 2 constant injured. They're the 2 he messed up on the biggest, because when they were fit, I never ever saw him rotate one of them. Like when everyone's going, "Oh, but we didn't have the players to rotate," never rotated one of them. And then when they were both injured and Radu Dragusin was 100% fit, Radu was the one against Chelsea that sat on the bench. He brings them both back at the same time. They both get injured. So now when people go, "Oh, Van der Ven and Romero, oh, what's he meant to do about his partnership?" That's on you, mate, not you. That's on you. You could have, in that game, you could have said, "Right, Radu, Dragusin, you're starting. Van der Ven and Romero, you can have 45 minutes each." Or
if you're saying to me, were a lot of the injuries down to Ange, then yes, that is. But that's different. So I'm talking about a match situation where he only has X amount of players to pick from. Why has he only got that amount of players? Some are match injuries, and a lot of them are down to him. I mean, I've never known a club have so many hamstrings. Spurs have had injury crisis, in the past. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen the amount of hamstring injuries at a club ever. It's just, this is crazy. And yes, he's to blame for a lot of the injuries. But if you're talking to me, right, Ian, you're sitting there, the match kicks off, you're watching a game in just a match in isolation, and how we're talking about the players that you've got on the pitch, how they're performing, and options to change a game. For me, it was.
Okay, so let me ask you. So Ipswich Town at the weekend. Again, Kulusevski, why has he got to play 90 minutes?
I don't know. It's mad, isn't it? It's crazy.
Right. Why? You've got Mikey Moore on the bench, right? Yeah. You've got players like in and around the squad, like a J.E. who could have been on the bench. But we flog a dead horse. Now, what will happen is, if Kulu picks up an injury, people will go, "Oh, what's Ange meant to do? He's without Kulu." Well, yeah, you've run him into the ground. Look, we did it with Udogie. There was no need for Udogie. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Udogie at the beginning, right? Udogie at the beginning of the season, I think in the summer had an operation, right?
Yeah.
Back end of last season, summer, he had an operation.
Same injury Romero's got now.
Right. So there was no need at the beginning of the season to start Udogie. Ben Davies could have played there.
Yeah.
Reggie could have played there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Right?
Spence.
Or Spence could have played there. So when people going, oh, but injuries, when he had the options, this is the thing. I love the you know my word.
Revisionism.
You know I love the word revisionism. Not from you, but the revisionism from people now that, well, now the players are coming back, we can rotate. But when the players were all fit, I didn't see anyone getting rotated. He would put the same 11 out, week in, week out. And then when those players when we lose, oh, they're tired. Yeah, they're tired because he didn't rotate. It's madness. Sorry.
Well, the only plus from a lot of the injuries is that players are coming back and they're going to be fresh. So, Romero and Van der Ven should be fresh enough for the rest of the season. I don't know. There's been nothing on Solanke has there recently. There's been nothing about
his hamstring will go.
Sorry? His hamstring
will go. Listen, we have this guy's career is going to be ruined. You know it, I know it.
I think they're looking at how he runs, how he twists, how he turns, and what he can do to try and improve it, because he's very tall, he's got long hamstrings, he's very fast. You could call him an elite athlete. We haven't got anybody like that with that explosive pace anywhere in the team. There are very few players in the Premier League. I mean, nobody can keep up with him. He's the fastest in the league.
Sure.
So they've got to try and find a way to avoid this. I mean, one easy way, obviously, is get a new manager with a different system, but that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. Certainly not this season. Richarlison's been unlucky again. Richarlison has been rushed back. The guy's out for months, and all of a sudden he's been thrown in for like long periods.
He's always injured, isn't he, Lupo?
No.
This occasion, I agree, but he's always. Can we be honest? Van der Ven and Romero are always injured. I know people don't want to admit it because they're our two best centre backs, but they're always injured. And as I said, Romero has played something like has been available for like 61% of games in 4 years. That's atrocious, right? That's atrocious, right? Van der Ven has been available for 51% of all games in 2 years at Spurs. You can't. If you have players that are injury prone, you deal with that. You get players in and around. You don't build around that.
No.
Surely you don't build around that.
You do one of two things. You either resolve the reason for the injury, the recurring reason, or you sell them like ultimately we did with Sessegnon, who I'm sure was a very good player. Really, I was really excited when he joined. I mean, the goal he got at Bayern Munich in the Champions League was superb, and I looked at that and I thought, there's a player there, but he was constantly injured, and you can't have a player who's in the treatment room the whole time. So it's one thing or another. Resolve the injury problem, the reason for the injury, and get on with it, or sell the guy.
But how does this change, Lubo? Because I think everyone's just saying when players are back fit, like more players won't get injured. This style of play, you're going to see loads and loads and loads of injuries. What are the club meant to do? Are they just meant to have 30, 40, 50 first team players because of his style of play?
Well, you probably need to have 30 to 40 players to compensate for this style of play. I don't know how else you get. It is crazy, but every player is probably in the red zone. With the training's far too intense. Not that he's. I mean, thankfully, last few weeks, December, Jan, probably didn't get too much time for training because it was constant matches. But up to then, it was mad. And players ultimately, as the season goes on, they just get tighter and tighter and more in the red zone, and finally the body gives out.
It's very interesting, isn't it, Lubo? Because we've had two managers in the last 10 years who have the most intensive methods of training in Conte and Pochettino. They never had injury crisis. Yes, Pochettino had
Poch had a few.
He had a few, but that's because he liked to keep his squad small, and that was a Pochettino fault rather than But we never had this many injuries at the same time because Poch knew that in some games, like the one when we drew 1-1 at the Emirates, we knew we weren't as good a team as Arsenal in that team, so we put 10 men behind the ball and hit them on the counter. That's what good managers do. They manage. They know this player. I have to play this player, so I won't ask him to do a million sprints. I'll ask him to do this, and that will conserve the injury. You manage games of football with the tools you've got. Whereas our manager, now I'm going to play the same way. Sprint 1,000 times a game. That's going to be fine.
Do you know? Can I just say one thing? First of all, when we talk about fixture congestion, no. Don't want European football and then complain about fixture congestion. No, please. I hate football fans that do this. When you go into Europe, you're going to have a lot of games of football. That's how it works, right? You know, if you go into Europe, you're going to be playing Sunday, Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, whatever, right? You can't get to Europe and then be like, but fixture congestion. It's not congestion. This is your season.
Yeah, fixture congestion is. I'll give you an example. We had 7 of the last 10 games. We were in the running for the league in '85 when Everton finally won it, just before Heysel, and we were in the running. We finished up 3rd. We had 7 of the last 10 games at home, but we played something like 7 games in. It was ridiculous. We were playing 3 games a week. That's fixture congestion. You know, when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, and we had that for 2 or 3 weeks. That's proper fixture congestion. We don't seem to get that now. You know, replays are now finished with the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But
by the way, Lugo, look at the teams he put out in the Europa League, right? If you look at the teams that he put out in the Europa League, on one hand, you've got people going, "Oh, look at the weak team we put out against Galatasaray."
Yeah, I did as well. That's right.
I know, but then people go, "Yeah, but we were playing in Europe. Other teams aren't playing in Europe." Yeah, but it doesn't really mean anything if you're making all those sweeping changes. Just quickly, Matt, my mate Matt, right? Surely you have optimism, and now we're on a solid run. We've won 2 Premier League games in a row. Before that, we lost 2 games in a row to knock us out in the cup. Right? Yeah, we can chuck Brentford in there, which was weeks ago. But of our last 4 games, we've won 2, lost 2. If that is what you think gives me optimism and you call a solid run, I have no idea. And another thing that you said, again, I don't think people like you have ever stepped foot a day in a football club or an elite sporting facility, right? They're athletes. They're not machines, Matt. Yeah, they're not machines. Because they are athletes doesn't mean you can run them into the ground. Do you think that when Usain Bolt wasn't running a race, that he spent all his days training, sprinting at full pelt? No. He's warming up. I
think the answer there, so can I answer Matt as well?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
Players have a few weeks off after the end of the season. They come back, and obviously everything's checked, and then they get involved in a very intensive few weeks of football of training, where there's obviously a lot more training, a lot more running and sprinting, so that players can be up to speed for the beginning of the season. And then obviously you've got a few games pre-season, and it's all built to get the players to sort of peak where they should be, where their bodies should be for the beginning of the season. What Angie's doing, and I repeat this again, I've said this on podcasts in the last few weeks before. I had a chat with a sports therapist who's trained people, and she said that there is a level that you take the human body to, and after that, when you crash through, when you push people's bodies physically through that level, then they are vulnerable to injury, and that is what Angie's been doing. They are elite athletes, but they've got to be honed properly with training, and the training's got to be done so that you don't go into a full blast training after a match. You give players get a day off, they get a warm down, they get eased back in. Muscles are given the chance to recover, and then you go again, then you build them back up for the following weekend. What you can't do is what Ange does, and you can't have a match condition every single day of training.
Yeah.
So there's no difference on a Saturday or a Sunday than there is Monday to Friday. And that's what Ange has been doing. And it's unsustainable. And if if you're not giving players' bodies a chance to recover, then they are prone, they're vulnerable to an injury. And that's what's been happening. Odegaard is 19 years old. He had a hamstring injury. He came back, I think, too soon. He ended up having to be operated on. Now, that's not right that a 19-year-old kid is operated on. It's all wrong. And this has contributed a lot to just going back to where I came in, Sav, where Ange hasn't had the options off the bench for several weeks. And it's cost us big time. And look, 1 minute, Man City, November 23rd, we're 4 points off City in second place. And all of a sudden, 10 weeks later, look where we are. We were 16th.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
he's got to manage that. He's got to manage that. As I said, in the long run, I'll give any manager leeway for that many injuries. But I won't use injuries as an excuse for not beating Wolves, not beating Everton, not beating Ipswich, not beating Leicester, not beating Palace. That's just not an excuse. He's had good enough teams out there to win those games. He's had good enough.
Palace, I would disagree with you, but the others I would agree. I think when you see the way Palace have come on since that day, when they started getting, they had Eze and Walton back, and all of a sudden it completely changed the dynamic of the team. They were a different team to previously.
But Lubo,
and since then,
they had them. No, hang on. But this is revisionism. At the time of playing Palace, they hadn't won a game of football, so there was no excuse. There was no excuse.
But the team that had played up to that had never won that this season, had been strengthened, and that's the difference. If you're saying we lost to the same team that had played the previous 10 games or whatever it was, then I agree with you. But if you say, all of a sudden the better players are coming back in, it changes. It's a better team.
Hang on. So Palace don't win a game for, what was it? I don't know. Was it the first 10 or whatever we played them?
Something like that.
Right? Yeah. And then we're saying, they had a couple of players come back that played our first team.
Sam, I've got to show. I've got a customer on. Give me a few.
All right. Well, that was loud. That was well loud. Ben, listen, I am going to leave it there.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm bored of you, mate. To be honest with you, you don't understand sport. As I said, I've worked at a Premier League football club. What you're saying is nonsense. What you're talking about, ex-pros saying how they trained back in the day. You've got to remember, back in the day, it wasn't the fitness levels of now, right?
No, David Ginola was smoking, for God's sake. David Ginola was smoking and eating all in sundries. That's a quality. He could eat. David Ginola was so good. He could probably have a smoke break during a game. We'd still be better than half the players on the pitch.
Big up, my man Leo. Yeah. Thank you for the. Thank you for the nice message that you WhatsApped me yesterday, Leo, about Frank. I really appreciate that, buddy. And listen, we are going to go in a minute. I'm going to read out some super chats, but I do think that people have got to understand that these are athletes. They're not machines. Yeah. Athletes it's like if you've got a high-performing car, they're not running at full throttle every single time the car goes out on the road. Sometimes you're just going over to just tick over the engine. Yeah, just let the oil go through, get it warmed up. It's Matt, I'm hearing what you're saying, but actually, I can't do it with that guy. It's just ridiculous. As I said, I could say it's Tuesday. He will tell me it's Monday or Wednesday. It's just who he is.
I have a copy here. He would say it's tea.
Yeah, he has never agreed with a single thing I've said. And I don't need people to agree with me, but the fact that he hasn't agreed with anything I've ever said tells you why he's in here. Let me get some super chats, and I do need to end the show. Big up to a user who said, I hear Richie out for the rest of the season. Wouldn't surprise me. Very injury prone, brought back too soon. Standard, as Lubo said, run into the ground. It was silly. Big up to you, a user. Appreciate that. Ricardo's come back in again and said, note on Son, he played well against a centre-back, playing at right-back for about 40 minutes. Once Godfrey gave Son a kick, he disappeared again. Look, it was good to see Son doing well in the first half against Ipswich. Yeah. But as usual, he's been missing for about 3 months. A good half an hour, 40 minutes against one of the worst Premier League teams I've ever seen. And everyone's going, oh, Son's good. I want to see him. I want to see him do that tomorrow night against Stones or Akanji or Vardy or whoever plays on that right back position, Diaz or Lewis. I want to see Son do that against them because he was anonymous against Liverpool, anonymous against Aston Villa. This guy's anonymous against most clubs. Big up to you, Ricardo. Appreciate that. A users come in and said 2 easy fixes: drop handball, played him in a position. You would think football should be and is that simple. Big up to you, a user. Mark Taylor, big up to you. Said, much love to you, Savva. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. It is very, very... I wasn't going to stream this morning. I thought, no, I've got to kind of get back into the swing of things. Or all I do is think about Frank. Big up to you. Thank you very much. The Two Marks Show, been member for 15 months. One of the two Marks said, round pegs in round holes and a proper coach would improve results. Mark, it's that simple for me. This, as I've said, this squad with round pegs, round holes, a proper coach, I think we'd be up there challenging for the Champions League positions. I don't think it's rocket science. Ange is a fraud, inept at his job and needs sacking. Big up to you. Phil Coys, who's been a member for 10 months. Big up, Phil. I know we disagree on most things football, but love you, dude. Said football chat, never personal. Football fans, remember that. Always good football talk here. Smash the likes and subscribe. Correct. Thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate that. We've got one more super chat, but what I would say is we're on exactly the same number of subscribers as when we started the show, which is really poor. Let's smash that subscribe button. And video complete, Sofiane said, I want a midfield three of Gray, Bergvall, Madders. I'm going to be honest. I think that is a very weak midfield. I think it will be bullied. I think if you're going to play Gray or Bergvall midfield, I think you play one of them, only my opinion. And I think you need 2 senior pros alongside them. Just my opinion.
Gray's going to be a unit, Savva. Gray's going to be a unit because the boy's 6'2", 6'3", and he's only 19. He's going to be a unit eventually. But now he's a bit of a twig. Let the boy get some, let him do some growing up. Let him get some fat. Send him to Ellie's house for some delicious Greek food and get some weight on him. Eddie would love to feed Archie Gray. Lubo will go around as well. Elliot, Gray and Lubo at Ellie's house. Let's get this done. Archie's going to be a unit. He's a big boy already. He just you can't play kids in midfield in the Premier League. I know we're going to say you can't win anything. He needs to put some muscle on.
I think Bergvall's doing okay. I think he's progressing very nicely. You
can't play both of them, Lubo.
You can't play both. You can't play both at the moment. But they're both Gray's 18, Bergvall's 19. They're in their first season. You couldn't. But I think in terms of looking at a player and saying, okay, you've got a young kid that's coming in. You wouldn't expect him to come in and dominate a midfield against City, but against someone like Ipswich, then yes. And I think if Bergvall's coming in and he's running things in midfield against these very lower level teams, then that is a step up. And hopefully the next step up is when he does that against mid-table teams. And then in a couple of years' time, he's doing that against the top teams. And that, and that's called progression in a player's development. So no, he's doing. I think Bergvall's having a decent season. He's doing okay.
I think Bergvall's done some nice things. I think we go overboard about him. I genuinely.
I think my analysis is quite measured. I think it's.
Yeah. I talk about as a fan base. Yeah. I think he does some good things against some of the worst of teams, and everyone's going, "Oh my God, this guy's a baller. He does this." Listen, for me, I look at it. He's 18. I don't know what he is yet. And again, I'm sorry to bring it back to this. I want to see him in a well-coached midfield where the midfielders actually have job roles, where you've got a DM, a box-to-box, and a playmaker. I want to see what is he. Technically, talent-wise, he's a footballer. You can see it. He's a good player. Yeah. He's a good player. This manager will ruin him if we don't get some sort of well-drilled shape in that midfield. But I am trying to end the show. And Super Spurs TV, big up to you. This is Blaine Dev. Thank you so much, Blaine. Really appreciate that. said looking forward. Look, tomorrow night's are going to be playing on the counter. If we try and press City for 90 minutes, we will get tore open. Let's see if he adapts it. Look, I think it's the same as when we played Man City before. Half of when you play City, Blaine Dev, for me, half of when you play, I'm going to mute you for a second, Lou, but half of when you play Man City is they dictate that you sit in. So if you actually look at the Liverpool game at the weekend, Liverpool didn't have the football. Liverpool had like 35% of the game. That is how you've got to get at them. You've got to let them have the ball. You've got to hope that they can't break you down, and you've got to hit them on the counter-attack. Now, are we going to be as clinical as when Salah's on the counter-attack? We'll see. We were at the Etihad. Let's see if we do it again. All I know is if we give them 65% of the ball and give them 16, 17, 20, 25 shots on our goal, it's going to be a long night. So we'll see, but we won't go too deep into that right now. Big up to that to you, Blaine Dev. Thank you very much for that. Guys, thank you very much. Lubo, thanks for coming in at the last minute as almost like a super sub there, the last 10 minutes to see the game out.
I came on like Madders did on Saturday.
What great footwork for the goal, though. Really good footwork for the goal. Yeah. And Lou, Ben, thank you so much for coming and joining me this morning, mate. Always a pleasure. Yeah. So we'll see tomorrow what happens, lads. I'll be back. I'm not going to do anything else on YouTube today. I'll be back tonight for a live score show on Big Ups. There's loads of games across the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two. Anyone can join me. I'll put the link in the chat. Anyone can join me, and it's a good laugh over there.
Donnelly and Keeley are at Birmingham tonight. Big game.
Big up.
We're at Birmingham Orient.
4-0 Birmingham, I'm going with.
Okay.
Up the Orient.
No, it'll be a good game. Birmingham are bloody good, aren't they? They're a bloody good football team, Birmingham. Yeah. And they should be flying up. Guys, thank you very much. Take care. I'm going to leave it there. As always, come on, you Spurs.
Leave it out.